The audit is in. The read mat was a blueprint for the pixel grid.
Trials presented line by line. The hardware is a match.
The audit is in. Your wearables are the predicted witnesses.
Your thigh is now informing you the code is live.
The barefoot desert dwellers are now in the competition.
Acknowledged. Monitoring their progress.
The audit is in. The desert is resetting to green.
The source code is matching the map.
The 2026 audit is in. The desert is resetting.
The source code is matching the map.
The audit is in. Distance between markets is now 0.
The global marketplace is now a single screen.
Welcome to the Cleophee podcast. Today we're sharing stories that will inspire and empower you. Let's get started.
Imagine for a second that you are an archaeologist.
Okay.
You are digging out there in the desert, battling the heat, and you unearth this sealed clay jar that's been buried for, 1,400 years.
Right.
You crack the seal, and you are probably expecting to find grain receipts, maybe some poetry about camels and sand dunes.
Yeah, that is usually what you find. I mean, the context of the 7th century was a world of caravans, manual labor, vast empty deserts.
Exactly. But instead, you pull out a scroll that proceeds to describe with this uncomfortable, almost technical precision, the specific pixel architecture of the smartphone screen you are looking at right now.
It really sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it?
It does.
Time travel, ancient manuscripts, the whole 9 yards.
Right. It sounds impossible. It sounds like we are about to talk about, Nostradamus or vague horoscopes, but we aren't. Today, we are doing a deep dive into a really fascinating and frankly kind of startling document.
It is a wild read.
It's called the 2026 Audit, Ancient Prophecy Meets Digital Reality.
And before we get too deep into the weeds here, I think it's really important to set the stage for everyone listening. We are not here to debate theology today.
No, definitely not.
We aren't here to preach or convert anyone. That is definitely not our lane.
Right. No sermons. We're purely looking at the data.
Exactly. Our mission today is to look at this specific source material, which presents a comparative analysis. It takes 4 specific ancient statements, these are known as hadiths, and overlays them on top of the technical, environmental, and economic reality of the year 2026.
And the source argues that these aren't just vague metaphors where you have to really squint to see the connection.
Right. It argues that this is a pre-calculated technical map.
A map that apparently predicts everything from OLED screens to the greening of the Saudi desert. And I have to admit, when I first looked at the source material, my initial reaction was total skepticism.
Sure.
I mean, come on, how does a prophecy predict a pixel? And lo, the resolution shall be 4K. It just doesn't compute.
That is the big question. And what's fascinating here is that the document doesn't ask you to take a leap of faith. It asks you to look at the linguistics.
Okay.
It argues that for centuries, we have been mistranslating certain phrases simply because we didn't have the technology to understand them.
Because we were trying to interpret descriptions of 2026 technology using the vocabulary of the Middle Ages.
Precisely. So the text was basically a time capsule that couldn't be opened or understood until we built the key.
And the key is the technology we use every day.
Yes. And the source suggests that 2026 is the year the key finally turns.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the first point in this audit completely blew my mind.
The hardware point.
Yes, the hardware, the actual screen we stare at all day.
So this comes from a source text known as Sahih Muslim 144a.
Right.
The text describes a time when trials or tribulations, essentially these intense, immersive experiences, will be presented to the human heart. But it gives a very specific structural description of how they are presented.
And the phrase used is udon,
which translates to stick by stick.
Stick by stick. Okay.
Now, for centuries, scholars looked at that and thought about weaving, like weaving a straw mat. You place one reed, then another reed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was interpreted as a metaphor for trials coming one after another, distinct and separate. Like you have a bad day, then you have another bad day.
Which totally tracks in a pre-industrial world. You use the examples you have around you. If you see a reed mat, you use that as your analogy.
Exactly. But the 2026 audit flips this on its head entirely. It argues that stick by stick is a precise linguistic match for what computer engineers call raster scanning.
Raster scanning. Okay, for those of us who aren't display engineers, break that down. How does a stick relate to my iPhone screen?
So think about the screen on your phone or your laptop. When you look at a picture, say a photo of a sunset, you see a whole image.
Right, it looks solid.
But that is a biological illusion. The hardware isn't projecting a whole picture at once like a slide projector would. It is actually building it.
It's drawing it.
It's drawing it incredibly fast. It draws a horizontal line of pixel sticks, if you will, then drops down and draws the next line and the next. It scans from the top to the bottom.
So it's building the image line by line.
Stick by stick.
Wow.
The source material highlights that modern OLED and LED screens operate on this exact pixel grid architecture. The sticks are the lines of pixels that build the interface.
That is wild.
If you were to slow down a video of a monitor, and you can see this in slow motion footage, sometimes on YouTube, you see that black bar scanning down.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's the refresh rate. That is the stick mechanism in action.
So the argument is that this ancient text described the actual mechanism of the digital screen, that the trials presented to us are literally digital images rendered line by line.
That is the core of the argument. It's not just a poetic phrase about life getting hard. It's a technical description of digital immersion. The source emphasizes that this mechanism is what captivates the viewer. We are entranced by the image, but the reality is just a stack of sticks firing rapidly to trick the eye.
It really changes how you look at your phone. You're not seeing a picture, you're seeing a rapid-fire assembly of lines designed to keep you looking. And the text says this leaves a mark on the heart, right?
It does. It implies that this stick-by-stick presentation creates a lasting impact. Addiction, influence, emotional alteration.
Which, if we look at the state of social media and screen addiction right now, feels pretty accurate.
Very accurate.
It's the infinite scroll. Just one more stick, one more line of code. But okay, let's say we accept that. That's just the screen.
Right, just the display.
The audit goes further. It gets into where we put the device and what it does to us. And this is where we get to the part that honestly made me laugh out loud when I first read the outline.
I have a feeling I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
The fashion statement of the apocalypse?
Yes. The speaking sandal.
The speaking sandal and the informative thigh.
I mean, come on. It sounds like a scene from a fantasy movie. The sandal shall speak to you. The thigh shall inform you. It sounds like a bad translation.
It does.
But the source material treats this with total seriousness as a description of 2026 tech. This is from Jamie at Termiti 2181, right?
It is. The text says that the end times won't come until a man's own thigh informs him of what occurred among his family, and his sandal strap speaks to him.
Okay, let's pause on the informative thigh.
Yeah.
Because when you hear that out of context, it's just weird, it's bizarre. But the source makes a very direct, very physical connection here.
It asks a simple ergonomic question. Where is your phone right now?
Well, right now it's on the desk, but usually it's in my pocket.
Your front pocket.
Yeah, right pocket.
And when it's in your front pocket, what is it resting against?
My thigh.
Exactly. The pocket-sided smartphone. The Force argues that for the first time in human history, we have a device that sits against our thigh and literally informs us. It vibrates with notifications.
That buzz, that phantom vibration we all feel even when it doesn't ring.
Right. And what do you do when it buzzes? You look down at your thigh, you pull it out and check the screen. And what does it tell you? It tells you what your family is doing via text messages or what your friends are doing on social media.
So if you are a 7th century person seeing a vision of a modern commuter on a subway, you don't see a microchip. You don't know what Wi-Fi is.
No, you wouldn't have the words for it.
You just see a man looking down at his thigh and getting information from it.
That is the argument.
Yes.
It's a phenomenological description. It describes the action, not the engineering. His thigh informs him.
Wow.
It's uncomfortably accurate when you think about the body language of the 21st century. We are all constantly bowing our heads to our thighs to get updates.
That actually makes total sense. It's the location that sells it. It's not his hand informs him or a magic scroll informs him. It's the thigh.
Right.
But what about the sandal strap? I don't know about you, but my sneakers aren't talking to me yet. I mean, they're comfortable, but they aren't conversationalists.
Are you wearing a smartwatch or a fitness tracker?
I am. I've got the smart ring and the watch.
And does it count your steps? Does
Right.
it track your biometric data?
Yeah, it tracks everything. Heart rate, steps, sleep, oxygen levels.
The audit draws a line between the sandal strap, an accessory worn on the extremity associated with movement, and modern wearable biometric sensors.
Okay, I see where this is going.
In the ancient world, the sandal was the primary piece of gear for travel. It was the wearable of the day.
Right. If you were going somewhere, you strapped on your sandals.
Today, we strap on our digital bands, and these devices speak to us about our own movements. The source emphasizes the reflexive nature of it. The text says the strap speaks to him.
Speaking in the sense of relaying data.
Exactly. The source describes this as an audit of our daily lives. The text says these objects will speak to the owner. In 2026, our accessories literally tell us how far we walked, how fast our heart is beating, and where we went.
So it's not a literal voice.
No, the sandal trap isn't having a philosophical conversation with you. It's reporting on you. It is providing a data log of your physical existence.
It's an audit of the self. That's a really interesting way to frame it. So we have the screen, the stick-by-stick display. We have the informative thigh and the speaking strap. It feels like we are building a cyborg here. It's a complete loop of user feedback.
We are building a user profile. The source suggests these texts are identifying the specific technological ecosystem of the modern human. But what makes this 2026 audit really comprehensive is that it doesn't stop at personal tech. It zooms out.
Way out.
Way out.
Right, because technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. We live on a planet, and this is where the source material shifts from the digital to the physical environment.
Yes.
This is discussion point 3, the environmental reset.
This is based on Sahih Muslim 157C, and this is one that has been discussed a lot recently because of the visual evidence we are seeing on the news. The text predicts that the land of Arabia will revert to meadows and rivers.
Revert is the key word there, isn't it? It's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
It is huge. Revert implies it used to be that way, and it's going back. Geologically, we know this is actually true. During the last ice age, the Arabian Peninsula was lush.
Like a jungle.
There was a savanna. There were hippos, lakes, vast greenery. Then the climate shifted and it became a desert.
But the prophecy says it will return to that state.
And the source material points to 2026 as a year where this is undeniably visible. It cites satellite imagery as visual proof.
I've seen some of those photos online.
If you look at the recent weather patterns in Saudi Arabia, the increased rainfall, the greening of the mountains near Mecca and Medina, it is striking. We've all seen the videos of flash floods turning the desert floor into rivers.
But is that just random weather? Or is there something else driving it?
The source argues it is a convergence. It specifically points to the Saudi Green Initiative.
That's a massive government project, right? Planting billions of trees.
Correct. 10 billion trees. It's a massive effort to terraform the environment. The source argues that this isn't just a random weather event. It's a combination of a natural climate cycle resetting, hence the word reversion and human intervention, through the Saudi Green Initiative acting as the vehicle for this change.
So we have a prophecy about the land turning green, and we have a modern government initiative literally dedicated to turning the land green, happening at the exact same time that the climate cycles are shifting.
It's the synchronization that the source highlights. You have the technological evolution, the screens, the phones, the wearables happening in parallel with the environmental restoration.
Wow.
The desert is physically changing to match the text at the exact same moment history arrives at the stick-by-stick screen technology.
It paints a picture of a very specific moment in time. It's not just someday the desert will be green. It's the desert will be green when you have the speaking thigh.
Precisely. It's a lock and key mechanism. You need all the tumblers to fall into place to unlock the date.
That is fascinating.
And there's one more pillar to this audit. We have the hardware, the wearables, and the environment. But there is one thing that ties the modern world together more than anything else.
Money. Shopping. The economy.
The economy. And specifically, the death of distance. This brings us to Jamie at Trimidi 2208.
This one is about the marketplaces, right?
Yeah.
The text says marketplaces would become near to one another.
Near to one another. Now, let's go back to the 7th century again.
Okay.
If you wanted to go to a market, you traveled. If you wanted silk, you waited for a caravan from China. That caravan took months.
Right.
Markets were distant. They were physical destinations separated by vast geography and really dangerous travel.
Distance was the defining feature of trade. You couldn't just get what you wanted when you wanted it. You had to wait for the seasons, the caravans.
Exactly. But today,
the
source interprets marketplaces becoming near as a description of zero-latency e-commerce.
That phrase zero latency is really interesting. It implies speed, but it also implies a lack of friction.
It implies immediacy. The source points to 2026 as the era of 5G connectivity and the maturation of global supply chains. When you open an app on your informative thigh, let's say Amazon or Alibaba, you are accessing a global marketplace.
Right.
The markets of China, the markets of the US, the markets of Europe, they're all on the same screen.
They aren't just near in terms of travel time. They are near because they've collapsed into the exact same digital space. The physical distance doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly. It is the collapse of space. The source calls it the digital unification of global trade. A single, instantaneous handheld experience. You press a button, and a product moves across the world.
Yeah.
The marketplaces have effectively overlapped onto your screen. The nearness is absolute.
It connects right back to the first point, doesn't it?
It does.
The stick-by-stick screen displays the near marketplace, accessed via the device on your thigh, while you check your sandal strap to see if your heart rate went up because you spent way too much money.
And all of this is happening while the desert outside turns green.
It really is a blueprint. That's the word the source uses, right?
Yeah.
A pre-calculated technical map.
And that is what is so provocative about this audit. Usually when people talk about ancient prophecies, they treat them as vague horoscopes. You will face a challenge today. It could mean anything.
Or a great leader will fall. Well, leaders fall every day.
Right, but this is specific. Stick by stick. Thigh. Sandal. Meadows. It's concrete.
It demands a forensic analysis. The source argues that these 4 points, the hardware, the interface, the environment, and the economy, create a unique fingerprint. There is no other time in history where all 4 of these things are true simultaneously.
You couldn't say this in 1950. You had TV, but it wasn't a digital stick-by-stick matrix in your pocket. You certainly didn't have the informative thigh.
And you couldn't say it in 2000. You had the beginnings of mobile phones, but the Arabian Desert hadn't started its greening cycle visibly, and e-commerce wasn't instant yet. You were still waiting on a dial-up connection to load a page.
So 2026 is the convergence point.
That is the source's conclusion, that the audit passes in 2026. The reality on the ground matches the text in the file.
It's a little unnerving, isn't it? I mean, we love to think that we are these pioneers of technology, that we invented the OLED screen, we invented the smartphone, we decided to green the desert because we are masters of our domain.
Absolutely.
But this document suggests that we are just walking through a script that was written down a millennium ago.
It really challenges our perception of progress. It challenges our ego. Are we inventing the future, or are we simply fulfilling a timeline? If a text from the camel writing era can describe the architecture of a pixel, does that mean the pixel was inevitable?
That's the heavy question. The idea that our modern digital reality is actually ancient knowledge waiting to be decoded, that the blueprints were already there, buried in the sand.
And notice the terminology the source uses. It calls it an audit. An audit isn't a prediction, it's a check. It's a verification. It implies that the text is a checklist, and we are currently ticking the boxes.
Pixel screen, check.
Yeah.
Talking watch, check. Green Arabia, check. Amazon Prime, check.
Exactly. And if the checklist is accurate, if these 4 items are correct, it forces you to wonder what else is on the list that we haven't deciphered yet.
What are we misinterpreting right now that will make perfect sense in another 20 years?
That is the frontier. The 2026 audit only covers these 4 points because they are the ones that have become undeniable right now. But you have to assume there are others waiting for the right technology to unlock them.
Well, that is a thought that will keep me up tonight.
But for now, the source restricts itself to these 4 confirmations. And I think what stands out to me the most is the integration. It's not just technology versus nature. It's a world where technology and nature are shifting in tandem. The screen and the meadow are part of the exact same prophetic ecosystem.
It's a holistic view of the future, or, well, our present. It definitely makes you look at the world differently. I don't think I'll be able to look at my phone screen without seeing those sticks building the image now.
And don't forget your informative thigh.
I will try not to. It's been a wild ride through this document. The 2026 audit really takes these ancient fragments and builds a mirror for our modern lives. Whether you view it as divine, total coincidence, or just a really strange linguistic quirk, the correlations are undeniable.
They are definitely there. And they remind us that information, true information, might be more durable than we think. We worry about digital rot, about our hard drives failing, but here is a message that survived on parchment and oral tradition to describe the digital age better than some tech analysts do today.
Absolutely.
So here's our final thought for you to chew on as you go about your day. The source describes a world where your body, your device, and the Earth itself are all syncing up to a 1,400-year-old description. If this audit is accurate, if the specific pixel architecture of your screen was known centuries ago, does that mean our technological future isn't something we are creating, but something we are just remembering?
That is the question. And who is really in charge of the schedule?
Next time your phone buzzes in your pocket against your leg, take a second. Look at the screen. Remember the sticks building that image. And ask yourself, are you holding a piece of modern technology, or are you holding a fulfilled prophecy? Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
Keep asking questions.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to us till the end. If you're impressed and want to revert to Islam, just recite the Shahada, the Islamic creed. The Shahada is the Islamic declaration of faith and is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It consists of 2 main parts. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness that there is no God or deity of worship but Allah. And finally, Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. I bear witness that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the messenger of Allah. Congratulations! The Shahada is central to a Muslim's faith and identity. Please join our WhatsApp group to let us know. The link is in the video description. Ask me any question that you may have. I will see you in another episode. Hit like and subscribe and bell button for notification. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.